Hey, everybody.
There he is.
How's everybody? Hey. All right.
Hi, everybody. Oh, it's great to be here, right?
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you all for coming.
You guys like the episode?
Good.
All right. We like to hear it. Well, Justin, I am so happy to be hanging out with you today.
Thanks, man.
I love the show. I was telling you that backstage. And before we begin, I'm going to give you some of your flowers that you deserve, okay? You ready for it?
I'm ready for it, I'm sure.
Tracker was the #1 television show for the 2023-2024 season. Yes, it was. It has reached over 81 million viewers since it debuted in February.
A lot of viewers.
And each episode averaged about 11.58 million viewers. That just doesn't happen for a broadcast television show anymore. So let's give it up for Justin.
Well, it's a group effort. It's a huge team behind these shows, as you probably know. There are, I want to say, close to 200 people, like 150 or 160 just in the shooting crew of our show. They all work very, very hard. So it's what you see is this, but what you start with is a blank page,
Yeah.
and a thought and a couple of words, and then you end up with production and network and studio and everybody behind one baby, I call it, and you end up with something really great.
Well, when a show like this wins, I feel like we all win because we need more art like this. We need the television landscape to keep thriving, and when a show like this comes along and it has such success, I feel like it's a whole win for everybody in the business. But I also would imagine there's a lot of pressure that comes with knowing you're #1, right? With needing to be just as good as last season, with wanting to do great work for the fandom. So do you feel that pressure, or are you able to kind of push that aside and focus on the work? Like, how do you balance the two different things?
I feel it now.
Thanks. Sorry about that.
No, yeah, of course. It's there's pressure for sure, but I think there's a responsibility that comes with it. And when you're asking, I always sort of look at it like this. I don't know anyone who's not busy. Everyone's busy, and everyone has their own life. People watch our show for different reasons. They watch it to escape. They watch it to get inspired. They watch it for entertainment. They watch it for the family dynamic. They watch it for the beauty of it, for the landscape. Whatever reason it might be that you're watching our show, or that you tune in week after week, you're taking an hour out of your life a week, and you're saying, I'm going to watch this show. I take that as a huge responsibility to deliver something that is the best thing that I know how to do. From the time that I wake up in the morning and go to work to the time I come home, usually later, later at night, it is every frame, it is every thought, it is every piece of wardrobe that we choose, every shot, all the locations. We have a studio and a network and a shooting crew and a post-production crew that feel the exact same way that I do. And when you have people like that, and I truly mean this, when you surround yourself with insanely talented people that are dedicated to something and the same thing that you're dedicated to, you end up oftentimes with something like this. And the difference, I think, is we were able to find an audience, and CBS helped us with that. The studio helped us with that in putting us after the Super Bowl, which was really great. So we delivered this pilot that everyone kind of fell in love with, thank God. And then they said, well, we really love it, we're going to put it after the Super Bowl. And then, of course, I'm like, wow, this is really great. I'll walk you through this really quick, my nightmare of a night. So we have the Chiefs playing and Taylor Swift on tour. and then there's rumor, they're like, she's going to be able to make it to the game. And I'm like, and we're premiering after the Super Bowl that Taylor Swift is attending. And I kind of kick my feet up, and I'm like, this is going to be great. Everyone's going to watch this thing. And then the game is so good that it goes into overtime.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at my watch, I'm like, we're asking people to stay up until like 11:30 to watch this thing, this new show that they're not hooked on yet.
I can't lie, that worried me.
Yeah,
I was
me
like,
too.
That's a bit late.
But you all really did it. You all pulled through. And we appreciate it. We really appreciate it. That was great.
Well, as the leading man of the show, there's so much dialogue, there's so much scene work. You're in almost every single scene, if not, all of them. I would say 98% of the scenes you're in. How do you navigate that? Like, how do you navigate getting the job done and knowing you're the face of it, you're the guy, like you are the tracker, and you have to keep on going to deliver a full season? Is that a hard balance?
It's a lot of thought goes into it. You have to take care of yourself in certain ways. There's a lot of people counting on you. You can't go down. You can't really get sick. People get sick, but you can't. You have to take care of yourself in a way. You got to take your vitamins. You got to get your rest. There's a great responsibility, I think, that comes along with that. If I go down, there's really nothing to shoot. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we have hundreds of people that are now kind of like this. So you can't be reckless. You can't goof off. All that stuff. You're representing a bunch of people, and not only the people that work on the show, but their families that they're supporting. So I take that very seriously. And then you know what else it is? Oh, thank you, one person who also takes their life seriously. That person must be from the Midwest or something. Just one. Everyone else is drinking. It's great. But also, you surround yourself with really talented people.
Yeah.
And so I'm able to, when I'm on set and they call action, I'm able to just act. I have one job, and that's what Ken Olin, the guy who created the show with me, that's what we kind of decided. We were like, look, I can produce and I'm going to do everything that I can, but when they call action, when I step onto the set and they call action, I need to do one thing. I can't do acting and also directing and also producing and also that, because it just takes away from the one thing that I'm supposed to be doing in that moment. And they've been really great, my whole team, they've been really great about letting me do that and understanding that right now he's doing one thing, we'll do everything else.
Right.
And then when I walk away, sure, it's different, but I can't sit in on every single meeting as much as I would love to. I can't. I mean, I guess I could, but I don't. Who wants? No, but I physically can't because I'm on set.
Yeah.
But I can't give every single note about every single thing that's going on in my head, and at the same time, give 100% to the performance, which is really what is the most important thing to me, is the performance. We have great writers, like I said, we have great producers, we have people that can handle all of that stuff, but the words have to come out of my mouth, and I have to hit that mark. Right? And I just need to be doing that one thing at that time. So and look, everyone's different. I've seen Ben Affleck direct brilliant movies and be brilliant in those movies. He does it all. That guy is like a machine. But so it's different for every single person. But for me, that was the most important thing, was to make sure that I don't sacrifice any of the acting for the other stuff the other hats that I'm wearing.
Well, for the record, Justin Hartley is a machine as well. So there we go. Because you wear a lot of different hats, man. And I think, when I look at the dialogue in this series, it's so heavy, it's so intense. And are there other actors and artists in the audience today? Okay.
Oh, great.
This is a question for all of y'all. I think you'll appreciate this. How do you go about memorizing? You get these scripts for every episode, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure this season we'll have a lot more episodes. Mm-hmm. You're turning around things very quickly. You're on a time crunch, right? It's a business as well. You got to get the shot and keep on moving on because the clock's ticking and dollars are being spent. How do you memorize to make sure you show up, you're prepared, you know your lines? Do you have different techniques? Do you have advice? Like, what works for you?
I do have different techniques. If I'm not tired at all, and I've got a full tank of gas or full, and my battery's full, I will do it by rotely. It's one word, and then it's 2 words, and then it's 3 words, and it's 4, and then it's a sentence, and it's that sentence in 1 word, and then it's that, and I could probably tell you the first letter of every word of the whole entire thing, like TIRL. I can do that. But then you get, as the time crunch starts to happen, I have a different technique. But it's always about sort of a gut feeling. I'm never really done with it until they say moving on. We're on the wrong set, we're moving on, we're going to the... So I'm never really done with it, and oftentimes, and I don't know for the actors in this room, or actually not even actors, anybody who works, anybody who does anything, oftentimes, right, you have an encounter with someone, or you're at work, or you're doing something, and then you go, man, I wish I would have done that. Oh, I should have said that. Oh, they really needed me to say that, and instead oh man, I really messed that up. I should have done that. And I've just learned you can't spend a lot of time doing that in this profession, because if you're constantly doing that, you're never going to be satisfied. When it's done and you're moving on, you're on the wrong set, and it's like a different scene, right? Now you carry that with you in a good way, but you can't dwell on it. And I think for me, I know when it's time to go, when I can rest, when I can go to bed, there's a certain feeling that I have in my body when I know that I'm ready. if I'm not, I can't get any sleep. I'll just be up all night anyway. So I might as well put the extra work in. The last thing I want to do is show up on set and not be prepared. I mean, that I have had nightmares about being in, still to this day, and I'm 28, and I
wasn't gonna say anything.
I don't know what is that. There's the one person was the only one that didn't laugh. No, I'm 47 years old, and I still will to this day have nightmares about not studying for a quiz in high school.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not a good feeling, and that's something you can control. It's just time. It's just spending time with it. It takes as long as it takes. You know, sometimes you'll read something and it'll be like 4 pages, and you'll read it once, and you're like, oh, I've got it memorized. And then there are other times where it's just not clicking for whatever reason. So it takes what it takes. And then I also say this. I can't really start working on anything until I have it memorized. Does that make any sense? Like, I really can't. I have to memorize it, get it all memorized in my head, and then I can actually start to process it and work on it and start to understand what it means and how I'm going to approach it.
So I imagine you memorize very kind of monotonely, like you just get it in your body.
Yeah, I try to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. It sounds fun, right?
Yeah, but no, you know what? It's a lot of work.
It works,
and
yeah.
I think, and all the actors out here, I'm tipping my hat to you, because what bothers me so much is when an artist or an actor says, oh, it's not like we're curing cancer or we're not brain surgeons, because you can't compare it, because what you guys do, what you all do as artists is you bring people so much joy and safety and feeling seen, and that has just as much weight to me as those other professions. So it's really important, the work that you all do. That's why I love having conversations with people like you, because you put in the work. You don't just show up and say, I'm here on camera. Like, you memorize, you go through rehearsals, you do stunts. I mean, it's just amazing what you guys accomplish every single day on set. This character specifically, Coulter Shaw, he's something.
Yeah.
He's something. He's an American hero to so many people who watch the show. I think he's a beacon of hope to many. An interesting character because he's helping track people and bringing that closure and safety to families, but also getting paid. It's a business, so it's this interesting relationship there, right? What do you love about playing him?
I love all of those things. And just to harken back to what you just said, you know, that's one of the sort of things that I always think about is brain surgeons, wonderful, all that stuff, wonderful. But whether you're mopping a floor or sweeping the floor or acting in a TV show or on stage or acting in a community theater or doing brain surgery, that's all you're doing at that moment. That's the only thing that you have, right? That is what you're doing. So if you just focus on that and you do what you say you're doing as an actor, I think it's hard for people to deny that you're actually doing it. I mean, I always say sans like, you know, shooting someone or wielding a knife. Like, you know, you really can just do what you say you're doing as an actor. And anyway,
yeah.
What do I love about him? Gosh, what don't I love? I love how complex his backstory is. I love that he took all of those things that happened to him as a kid, and instead of saying, well, life happened to me, he ends up kind of happening to life. I love that. I love that he, I loved playing Kevin Pearson on This Is Us. I loved it. It was the highlight of my career until I got this show, and I'm like, I really love playing this character. He's so different than Kevin, and I fell in love with Kevin, and I'll carry him with me forever. He'll forever be in my heart. But the opportunity to be able to play a character like this that is so different, especially in a world where people want to put you in a box, in this industry as well, they want to go, oh, you did that well. And so it's a compliment because they see you do that and they're like, that's what that person does, which means maybe you did it well. Maybe that's what that means. Otherwise, they'd be like, no, that guy can't do that. But it's also kind of bad because then they only see you a certain way, and it's hard to break out into something else, right?
But you did it.
Well,
this character's very different.
Very different. A lot of people helped. We all did it together, but I got the opportunity to do it, right? And it's been great. I love that he doesn't get distracted. I love that. I love that he. I love that he's on his own. I love that that he's a decision maker. I love that he doesn't make excuses. And And I love that he helps people. I love that he's a good guy. He's not an anti-hero. He knows right from wrong, and he has conviction. He follows it. And I also love the way they're writing this character where it's sort of like Rockford Files, but this guy evolves as he goes. So when you watch episode 2 of season 1 versus episode 2 of season 2, he's the same guy, but all of the things that he has learned throughout the seasons, throughout the episodes, throughout his, these encounters that he has with other people, he keeps them, he takes them with him, and he becomes a better man, which I think is so great. Yeah. And unfortunately, rarer than it should be. Those are some of the things I really love about him.
Mm. And was it important for you to do some of your own stunt work? I mean, what percentage of stunts do you do in the show?
I try to do all of them.
Do you really?
Try to do all of them.
You're hanging off cliffs, you're bouncing off cars. Did you jump out of the airplane?
No, there are certain things they won't let me do.
Okay.
And then there are certain things that I'm sure that would come up that I wouldn't want to do. But so far, yeah, I mean, fights, I think it's important. There's certain things, like I'm not stupid about it. There are certain things that I just simply can't do. Or my stunt guy would be better at doing it than I would be doing it. Right. It would benefit the show to have him do it. But there are other instances where, and most oftentimes, where if it's safe enough and I can do it, now our director can put the camera in a different spot because they don't have to hide anyone's face, because they can just shoot my face, kicking the hell out of someone or whatever, or diving down off of something or whatever it might be. And they make it pretty safe. I mean, you get dinged up. Something's always sprained, and something's always kind of scratched up, and something's always achy or whatever it might be. But that's sort of the price of doing business, It's like anything else. But it's never really dangerous. It's just kind of like, okay, you're going to fall off of that thing. It's not going to feel great, but you can handle it, right? Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, we practiced it a couple times, and like, how many times are we going to do it? Well, we'll try to do it under like less than 4. Okay, try to not do it more than 4 times. I can probably survive that, and we get it done. And you end up with a shot where you see the actual actor, the character, flying through the frame and taking the hit, as opposed to now you have to put the camera somewhere else, and the guy's got his head down somehow, and there's a wig coming out the guy's, and he's twice as big, and it's like, I'm not even sure if the shoes match. Right. You know what I mean? So I think there's a benefit in that, and it's all about protecting the show, really.
It's evident that you're so invested in every single piece of how the show looks, right? It's not just about you, it's about the overall picture. Yeah. Even hanging out backstage and watching the episode, you were admiring the lighting, and you were giving notes, and it's just, you're so invested and all in. Yeah. And I know you're an executive producer on this project as well. Are you able to give, guidance on where you want your story to go? Do you collaborate with the writers, or do you kind of let them do their own thing? Like, what's that line you straddle between letting writers do the job they're here to do, but also expressing what your vision is as an EP and the leading man?
I mean, I think it has to do with personnel. We have our head writer, Elwood Reed, who is really wonderful, and he's a really great writer. He's a talented guy. He comes up with great stories, and he knows the character inside and out. But he's also, I think his biggest asset is he's so collaborative, and he's not ego-driven at all. You can tell him anything, and he doesn't take it, well, if he does it alone with tears. But in front of me, he doesn't take it personally. He understands where the notes are coming from. It's not coming from anything other than, it's not coming from a place where I'm saying I can do this better, because I can't. It's coming from a place where, hey, have you thought about this? And he's so collaborative. And that goes the other way, too. I mean, they're the same way. They're like, hey, when Coulter's in this situation, you're the actor, but don't you think that, oh, yeah, of course I hadn't thought of that, We have so many eyes on this that it's hard to let things slip through the cracks when you have so many eyes on it, the people that really care, that sort of have the same vision. But yeah, we collaborate about everything. I mean, there are certain story areas or scripts that come in that don't need to be touched. And then there's certain ones that come in where you have maybe a couple of ideas for that could maybe, I don't want to say make it better, but maybe sharpen it a little bit or make it more interesting in certain areas. And then there are certain times where you have notes that just, they fall flat, and you're the only one that thought that, and you kind of have to let those go. So it's a team, really. Mm-hmm.
You brought up This Is Us, and my mind keeps going back to that because obviously the show resonated with so many people. It's a fan favorite and will forever be a fan favorite. When you were wrapping up that show, you began working on this show, right?
Yeah.
So what was that like for you as an artist to kind of have to hang up your hat with that character and say goodbye and make peace with that's it. I'm not going to see him again. And then getting right into the mode of preparing for another one. Like, did you have time to kind of grieve that loss, for lack of a better word?
We had a lot of time. So we knew the show was going to go 6 years from like the beginning. In fact, I think I was told 5, and then I think it evolved into 6. I could be totally lying to you, but that's how I remember it. But we knew for years and years and years that show was ending when it was ending. So we had a lot of times you don't get that opportunity. Things just happen. People go, you're not doing it anymore, and you're like, oh, okay, oh wow, okay. This was more like, wow, you get an opportunity to play this character for 6 years. It's going to be amazing. What a ride this guy's going to go on. And here's kind of what his journey is going to be. And it evolved a little bit throughout the series. I'd say quite a bit actually, but it ended up being something that was, I thought that project was remarkable to be a part of. There's an interesting thing that happens with that too, though, because if you have a mind like I do, you pull off the pages of the calendar, and that calendar starts to get, remember those little desk calendars that you get?
Yeah.
And as you pull off the pages, you're like, oh, another day, another day, another day. And then as that thing starts to get thinner and thinner, you're like, oh, we're almost at the end of and it starts to feel different to rip them off, right, than it does at the beginning of the year. So that kind of happened, but well, I don't even know what your question was. I'm just rambling at this point. But
just grieving that character.
But yeah, one of the things I didn't realize was, and I'm so happy that it's happening, is that I didn't really say goodbye to him, because people remember him, and people say things to me. You know, they'll say things about passions. It's like this soap opera that I did 100 million years ago. And people will still say Fox Crane, which is like the only character I've ever played that had 2 animal names as a first and last name, which was the most interesting thing about him. But people hold on to that stuff, and that's kind of cool because you never really have to let go of it, and it stays in everyone's hearts. It's really remarkable, and it's a really cool thing to have happened in your life.
And I feel like it's a role that, I don't know, maybe down the line you would revisit one day.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. We've all talked about it, and I don't know if there's any plans to if there are plans to reboot it. I haven't been involved in them, which is a whole nother conversation, I guess. But yeah, I still keep in touch with all those guys. They're all so great. They'll be lifelong friends of mine, and I would do anything for them. I love them all.
Might we see any of them on Tracker?
I think we will.
Okay.
I think we will. Yeah.
All right. Season 2.
Yeah.
For fear of executives from CBS who might be here coming on stage and body checking me, what can you tell me that won't get you in trouble, but maybe that you haven't shared yet?
Let's see, what haven't I shared yet that won't? Well, let's get in trouble. Who cares?
All right.
What do we got? We have, I think you all know that Jensen's coming back. Jensen Ackles is coming back. That'll be fun. My wife, who is here somewhere, is coming back. Sophia Pernis is coming. Oh, there she is. Sophia's coming back. And by the way, my mother and my sister are here in the front. This is my
Give it up for mom and sister.
Who else is coming back? We have this white whale case that we introduced in the episode that you all just saw, and that ends up taking up like sort of half of our season. The first half of our season ends up being kind of about that. There's a job that Coulter takes several episodes into the first part of our season, where he's out in the forest and he stumbles upon this guy. These campers go missing, and he's trying to figure out he's surveying the scene and trying to figure out, getting all the clues that he can, try to figure out where these people went. There are 4 of them, so something happened, right? It wasn't like one stray. It was all 4 of them are gone, and then there's this man that he finds while he's looking for them. The man's got a gun. He's got a couple of questions for this man, and this man ends up telling him sort of a little bit about his backstory and why he's there, and he has a white whale case of his own, and so they kind of help each other. So for the first time in our series, really, you see Coulter teaming up with, not just for a moment, for several episodes, with someone from kind of a different generation, totally different way of doing things than Coulter does. And it may or may not help him with his white whale job that he's been, searching for a decade. Was that an executive going? That was George Cheeks is like, shut up.
Well, George might not like this question, but Is he maybe going to find love this season or explore that more?
You know, I think he's got a tough job. You know what I mean? He travels a lot, and it's something that we talk about. And the guy, like I said, he evolves. He's going to evolve. But I think for right now, I mean, that would be a difficult relationship to have, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
A relationship with a guy like that, like a guy who's traveling, he's gone all the time. He's off the grid all the time, and plus it's dangerous. He's always getting shot at or doing something, crazy.
I mean, you did have some fun season 1, episode 1.
Yeah, it seems like he only has fun in episode 1.
Yeah.
101, 201,
Yeah.
probably 301. Like, yeah, if you're an actress or an actor, a female actor, and you want to come on Tracker in like 301, something's probably going to go down. Other than that, you're safe. I don't know what that is. I don't know why that happened, but it did. And then that whole thing that happened at the end of that episode that you just saw ends up being something that we earn and we explain, and you go, oh man, okay, I see. It's more than just a trauma bond thing. There's a history there. Yeah.
Okay, we have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah. We go pretty deep because now we can. When you're building a show, from the beginning, it's the hardest thing to do because you can't just dive in. You have to explain who these characters are to everyone. Pilots are tough. They're tough because, as an audience member, I want to know who this guy is. Like, Breaking Bad, beautiful pilot, beautiful. When you watch it, though, you need to know, like, the circumstances. Okay, he's got lung cancer, but he doesn't smoke. So why did he? You have to explain all this stuff, right? And then as you get into the series, you kind of know it, and it just kind of flows. You don't have to explain every single time who this guy is.
A lot to look forward to, like I said.
Yes.
Justin, you are someone who's been working a long time, right? And you've been a part of projects that people love. And I know you're very grateful to have been a part of them. And you don't take it for granted, which is amazing to see. What is something you've learned about yourself through all of these years as a working actor? I mean, you're going from job to job, and you're hustling, and it's a very unconventional business. Is there something that you've really learned that has helped you kind of in this career choice, in this path, in your personal life that you can share with people today that might help them?
Find the right partner. Find the right partner. Find someone who will walk to the end of the earth with you, who trusts you. Surround yourself with the best of the best, and don't worry so much about pleasing everyone, because I think the people that get you, that get your heart, that know who you are, that really understand you, your kindness. I don't think any of that factors into it. I don't think making sure that you're pleasing other people really has anything to do with that. I think it's being present in the moment. It's an easy thing to say, a very, very hard thing to do. But yeah, find the right partner, and that could be in a spouse, that could be in a sister, that could be in a mother, that could be in anybody, your team. Just pour into your team, find the right people, surround yourself with people that are like-minded, that appreciate themselves. And that appreciate your help, and that you can ask advice from, that you can trust. And when you have that, you have, and your health, the rest is cake, really.
Yeah, and you strike me as someone who's always wanting to learn.
Always.
And you're not afraid to ask a question, are you?
No, and sometimes you end up looking like a fool, but that's okay. Because you know what? I would rather look like a fool asking a silly question that everyone in the room knew the answer to than assuming that I knew the answer to that and then going about my business and doing something and messing up, in front of the same people and looking like a complete fool. I'd rather ask the question. Yeah.
And I'm sure when you started executive producing too, you had a lot of things that you had to kind of learn.
Oh man, look, the difference between me now and me 20 years ago is I didn't have that. Me 30 years ago, I didn't understand that. And I thought the idea was just to make sure that people knew that. So I would read a lot of stuff. And I would, so I knew a lot of stuff. I knew a lot about a lot of things, I guess, kind of, from books. But I had never stood up and directed someone in a TV show and told them, okay, this is what I want to do, and given a note and seen their response, and understand that my note to you and how I'm going to talk to you is completely different than the note I might give that gentleman right there who's doing the same thing. You're going to respond to it. He might not. Or you might look at me like, what is he talking about? Where this guy's over here going, I know exactly what he's talking about. Everyone is so different. So that's part of, when I wrote on Smallville, I learned so much about acting. I used to read scripts differently. I used to read scripts where they would say, and then he tugs on, I'm making something up, he tugs on his hood, a Green Arrow hood or whatever, he tugs on his hood in a way that he's uncomfortable. And I would read it, and I would get a little bit angry. I'm not gonna lie. And I'd be like, that didn't tell me how I'm angry. I'm not angry. And then I wrote on Smallville, and I realized those notes aren't for me. Those notes are for the people reading the script. That's for the studio and the network. And they have to be there. I was an idiot. I didn't know. And then when I directed on Smallville, same thing. I learned how to give notes and stuff and how not to offend people. Then I directed on This Is Us and with those actors who were doing something completely different, on a completely different level. It's just like a completely different animal. And you learn how to talk to someone like, how are you going to give Sterling K. Brown a note, right? How are you going to give Mandy Moore a note? How do you know, walk up to Milo and give him a note? But that's your job. And I'll never forget, I wanted something from this scene when I was directing Mandy in this scene with her kids, her like teenage kids. And I think Kevin was even there. And so I was directing all of them. Teenage Kevin was there. Mm-hmm. And I remember I didn't quite know how to say the note to her, but I just thought, the character's so annoyed by the way these kids are acting, and it's almost disappointing. Not the actors, but the characters, how they're behaving, And I thought to myself, I don't know what to say to her because I'm not a mother. I don't know how. But then I just remembered, and I walked up to her, and it wasn't even really a note. I just said to her, man, this would be so much easier if Jack were here, wouldn't it? And she just froze. And I didn't realize what I had said, but I said it, and then she just froze, and then I saw Mandy freeze, and I realized that she got the note, and I think it was more than I wanted to say, and I just kind of turned around, and I was just like, okay, leave that alone for a little bit. And then I was like, just roll a tail slate on this thing, just roll it right now. And I was like blown away. I forgot to call cut.
Wow.
I forgot to call cut. I was just watching her. I was just like, holy cow. This woman is having a moment right now. And it really had nothing to do with my note. It had to do with just actors need reminders sometimes, and she was incredible. And those are the little things that, I don't know if you can tell, I get really excited about this stuff. I just think it's, when you watch a movie and my wife was just watching a movie today, and she turned it on. It was Game of Thrones trilogy, right? Lord of the Rings trilogy. And that's sorry. And we're not crazy. And Lord of the Rings trilogy. And she goes, oh, this part always makes me cry. And I go, oh, okay. I'm gonna find my wallet, and then we got to get out of here because we got to go to lunch. And I found my wallet, and I turned around, and she was like, crying. And she's seen this thing 60 times. And I'm like, this is the power of cinema. This is really unbelievable how it taps into certain things, right? We need this stuff.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
It's really exciting. And hearing you talk about it is exciting. Do you think directing has made you a better actor?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
I'm easier to give a note to, I think, probably. I think there was a time in my life where I was, what that is, though, and if I'm being totally honest, when someone gives you a note, if a director gives you a note and you disagree with it, the way that you respond to the note is either you have a conversation about it or you don't, and you let them know, I'm not doing that, and that's why, this is why I'm not doing that. Because you go on and on and on, whatever, and you kind of put them in their place and they go back, because they can't make you do anything. The words have to come out of your mouth, right? But all that is insecurity. That's all that is. That's someone that you, at least in my experience, when you see the person walking over to you, and I've been there before where you and I will be in a scene together, and you see the director coming out and they're walking, and in my head, 20 years ago, I'm going, God, I hope he doesn't come to me. I hope the note's not for me. I hope the note. And then I'll see him veer off to you, and I'm like, thank God. And then inevitably, the director, when he's done with you, turns to me and gives me my note, right? And then I learned as a director, a lot of times, if I need something from you in a scene, I might not give you the note. I might say it to the other. You might hear it, but I will give the other actor the note. But it's for you. Yeah, for sure. So you learn that all of the notes, when a director is, this is just for me, and a director will typically pull somebody aside if they have a note that is private or whatever. But if there's a note being given on set to someone that is in the scene that you don't even have dialogue with, at least for me, my experience has been, listen to it. Get all the information. That might be for you. And if it's not for you, I bet you can glean something from it. I bet there's something that you can participate in the next take, with in a different way from that note, I think.
And I feel like that's applicable in any profession, right?
Yeah.
Like no matter where you work or who your boss is, taking notes and feedback is all part of it.
Yeah, you have to, and if you're good at it, if you're good at it, it's better for you. And it's hard to be good at it because they're notes, right?
Yeah.
And the notes are usually like when we'll get script notes, and it's always the same. It's like the studio will be like, and they don't give us a lot of notes, which is great, but they'll be like the first like 3 lines are just praise and great, and it's amazing. We're so it's like page 1, sentence 4. We're wondering if, and then it starts, right?
Right.
But they're very good at that. That's how you give notes. You have to say, hey, by the way, we're all in this together. You don't just start blasting people from the, like just sit there and go, here we go. And once again,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it does. Directing, writing, learning producing alongside Ken Olin has made me a better actor, I hope. And just, I don't know, less stress. It'll get done. It'll get done if we're all here. It'll get done. And if it doesn't get done, I don't know. Then we're all in trouble, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are.
So far, we've done it. So
how do you take time for you when you're filming a show like this? I mean, you're busy day in and day out. Mm-hmm. You mentioned sleep. Do you actually get to sleep? I mean,
sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I miss a day of sleep here and there, but it's okay.
Like mentally, how do you stay ready to go and take some time for you?
I don't know. It's just about scheduling, And sometimes you just look at it and you go, like I said, finding the right partner. I don't have anybody wondering why I don't have an extra 30 minutes for dinner. We're all in it together. We do everything together. My wife and I do it all together. I could not do this without her. Yeah. At all. And I mean that. And she knows that. And so it's about scheduling and figuring it out and going, okay, I know I need to go to the gym today. I have to eat, I have to get some sleep, but I might not be able to work out as long as I wanted to. I might not be able to spend as much time at dinner, and I might not be able to sleep as long as I wanted to. Because right now, 100% has to be the show, of my time. That's what people are watching. It's important. So I don't know. That's where I am right now, and it's been okay. I'm still breathing. I feel great. Do I look like shit?
You look great.
Okay. People ask me that all the time. They're like, "Do you sleep?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Well, you have 90 jobs right now.
No, I know. I'm kidding. But I do know that I look tired. But it's because I'm exhausted. No, but I feel great.
Good.
It's a pleasure to do this, really. I mean,
good. That's what matters.
Opportunity to do this. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I know everyone here is grateful, and I have questions from the audience. We're going to go through as many as we can.
Okay.
All right. So we'll start with. Good question. What do you think makes a great performance? Oh my God. The second part of this. What? I feel like I have to read, but now I'm kind of blushing. You were super cute. So are you, Tommy.
You are.
Now
I'm cute.
All right. Was that our spouses over there? Okay. Anyway, what do you? Wow, I'm proud. What do you think makes a great performance?
Just cuteness.
Okay.
It's all about being cute.
Yep.
Cute as you can. Yeah. I think it starts with preparation.
Yeah.
Preparation for sure. Understanding what you're saying, the character, an arc of a scene, and all of that. But it definitely starts with preparation.
Very nice. Okay. Up next, Summer wants to know: do you have a favorite line from the script or a favorite case? By the way, my mom and I love you so much.
Also to you. That last part was.
Well, I don't know about that, but I have to read them all now. Do you have a favorite line or a favorite?
Oh my gosh, favorite line is favorite line. I like when he looks at whoever might be missing something, a person, and he says something to the effect of that he's going to do everything he can to bring your daughter back to you. Or I'm going to work as hard as I can. I'm going to figure out everything I can. I'm going to help you. I like when he says that. He says it in a different way. And we built this white whale case as sort of a promise that he promised to bring her sister back. And then you'll notice in the show, he never, ever, ever promises ever again. Ever. Intentionally. Because he wasn't able to deliver.
Right.
So, but I do like when he stares them right in the eye and he tells them he's going to do everything he can. He means it. Everything. I think that's so powerful.
Yeah, I agree. Donna wants to know, why is Colton so standoffish? Will he let his guard down with Renee?
Well, Donna, it's Coulter. But that's okay. We all know who you meant. Will he let his guard down? Why is he so what?
Standoffish.
Standoffish. He's not standoffish. He just doesn't answer to that name. He didn't know you were talking to him. He didn't know you were talking to him. Will he let his guard down with Renee? You know, their relationship.
Good question.
It's a great question.
And I love Renee, by the way. That actress is amazing.
She's cool. Yeah, she's great. And she and Coulter, their relationship evolves into something that's really, really cool. It's like something you don't see a lot on TV. There's always this, without giving anything away, gosh, how do I? There's a lot of relationships on TV that I enjoy them, that are like sort of like sexual tension and, oh, okay, well, what does that mean? Innuendo here and
right.
But you don't see a lot of just respectful, platonic, awesome relationships, true friends, you know. And not to say that that's where the story's going to go down the road, but I just think that's so cool to have and she's a kick-ass lawyer that he has in his corner. So there's just I mean, it makes sense that they would be in each other's lives in that way.
What kind of research went into preparing for the role? Did you talk to real-life reward seekers? Brianna? Yeah,
so we did a lot of talking to people who there are people who do this for a living, and they're typically finding. They're also, you know, there are people who like look for treasures and stuff, and so it's and they may or may not be there, and then yeah, I have sisters, so they will find everything. I mean, everything. You can't. It's just like they're detectives.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course. You know, you try to do as much research as you can, and then also my brother is a police officer. They do a lot of that stuff as well. And then we have people that we liaise with on set. So, and we're constantly learning too. He's constantly doing different things, like trying to, like, every scenario is different. And he's a percentages guy, if you know the books. So everything is different. And every given scenario might be a different percentage of, you know, should he stay or should he go, kind of thing. Should he run or should he hide, find shelter, or is it time to like move and get out of here? So we're constantly learning, and it's fascinating stuff too. It's and everyone has their own opinion, right, about what they would do. Yeah. So it's just cool to sort of talk to people and hear them. Military people have a lot of background and stuff like this as well, which is kind of cool. So there's always stuff you can learn for sure.
I really never had a clue that it was a profession, that people do that.
I don't know how successful they are at it, but
well, not everyone can be you know. Yeah. All right, Dexter from Brooklyn in the house.
All right.
What was your best moment while working on the show? P.S. I would like to be invited to the after party.
The after party? Is there an after party?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
We'll do it in Brooklyn.
There might be some writers in this room. I mean, these are really good.
My best moment. I'll tell you what my best moment of the show was. We had just there was a pandemic, and God, I miss it. And it was a really weird time, and everyone kind of shut down. I know, I mean, I locked myself in my house for 2 years. I went to work at This Is Us, and then I would go home, and then I would go to work, go home. And that's it. And it was really cool to see, there were actually two moments. It was really cool to see people back to work, and they were in masks and stuff, but we hadn't worked for so long. And you saw everybody at work, and it was just like, wow, okay, you have 100-something people working again. And then we had a strike. And then we had a writer's strike. Then we had an actor's strike, coupled with the writer's strike. And it was just kind of a really fraught period in our business, to be honest with you. And to come back from that and see everybody back to work is really awesome as well. So those are the times when you sit there and you go, man, we worked really hard. There's a lot of people that that were involved in making the show, in creating the show, and I was one of them. And you look out and you see hundreds of people that have jobs that are excited to be at work. That's really cool. That is really cool.
Yeah.
looking at a crew list and you flipping through all these names and you're like, wow, all these people are employed. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's a good feeling, man.
Yeah.
All right, Megan. Megan is wondering, what is your greatest joy and takeaway from filming Tracker?
That people like it. That honestly, that people watch it. I think every performer wants an audience, and just I love when people say this. I hear this all the time. A dude will be like, "Oh, I watch it with my daughter," or "I watch it with my wife," or "I watch it with my girlfriend." Women will be like, "Oh, I watch it with my wife," or "I watch it with my husband," or "I watch it with I watch it with my grandkids." "Oh, my grandmother loves that show." "Oh, my kids love that show." We love that show. We all watch it as a family. That's awesome. That's terrific, because then you don't have someone else in this room watching God knows what, and someone else in this room watching God knows what. They're all sitting around and excited about a show that they can all watch together, and then they can talk about it afterwards. You know, it's cool. It's what it's all about. It's amazing.
Brings people together.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Rich from Port Jeff, are you in a group chat with the This Is Us actors? If so, who is the most active in the chat?
We definitely have more than one. There are probably some that I'm not even in. I'm in several with them.
Oh.
Yeah. We have. But the main one, who's the most active in the main one? We're all pretty active in it. I mean, I guess, man, I don't know who's the most active. We all chime in. We all chime in from here. It depends on if something's going on. Like if someone's in town, you know, like I'm in town, and then it kind of gets crazy. And then there are days where there's nothing. And then there'll be like a photo that someone found, and then it'll be like just going nuts for a while. Everyone's pretty active, I would say.
Does anyone leave the group chat? Like there's always
No.
one
No.
who exits. No? Not you? All right.
Isn't that weird when people do that? But I love it. It sends a clear message.
Well,
Leaving the group chat.
but now you can mute them, so you don't have to leave.
Well, that's the move.
Yeah.
Yeah, just mute. You don't have to be rude
You
about
just
it, right?
gotta mute. All right. Jean Marie from SAG-AFTRA, how closely, if at all, does your life resemble that of your character? Meaning, are you a real woodsy, off-the-grid kind of man?
Sure. I mean, I'll go. Yeah, I'll go deep into the woods. I also like room service, though. I'm gonna be honest with you. I do it all. I mean, I could take care of. You know what's funny? My father, growing up, was really handy with stuff. My brother's really good at building stuff. My brother could build a house. Incredible mind for that stuff. I never had that when I was a kid. I was more like, I don't know, storyteller and I just didn't have any interest in it. And as I got older and got my own stuff, and my stuff started to break, as homes do, you have to learn how to maintain stuff and take care of things. And so I've learned quite a bit. I'm pretty handy now, and I never used to be. I think my sister's kind of like that as well. She can pretty much do stuff. She does a lot of things now that I don't think she really had an interest in doing before she had her own stuff, which is understandable. So yeah, I think I could survive in the woods. I would not be like Coulter Shaw, though. No, I would need some, like, I'd have to go to, like, is it REI or whatever, and get some food rations and stuff. Yeah, get some propane tanks. I'd be, the Airstream seems cool, though.
Yeah.
You know?
Have you done one? Have you gone on a trip? No. All right. Not his character.
So I spend most of my life in a trailer, whether it's my cast trailer or the Airstream. I'm always in a trailer. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, you're over it.
It's a lot of trailer.
Yeah, I get it.
It's a lot of trailer.
I get it. All right, we have time for one more. This is a nice note to end on. Did you have any idea the show would be so popular?
No.
No inclination.
No. I knew that we were given a shot, and I appreciated it when the network told us, that CBS told us they were going to put us after the Super Bowl. I appreciated the shot when 20th told us that they were going to option the book for us. When the studio and the network worked together on this and made it everything that it was, and they advertised it like crazy, and they really did a great job of building it. But much like This Is Us, and I think probably anything else, you never know. Like, for instance, Tracker, huge hit, and if we spun it off, you just don't know if it's going to find an audience. I don't know if there's a... I mean, I know more than I used to about that. Like, I feel like I could build a show that would have an audience. But this level, I didn't know. No, I didn't know. But I'm happy it does.
So what's the magic sauce? Why is it so popular?
Well, that's between me and Ken Olin. No, I think we hit all the right things. I think you have to find the right level of drama. You have to find the right level of levity. There has to be suspense, I think, and there has to be intrigue in the character. You have to root for the character. You have to really want the character to get what he wants. It has to make sense. The timing of it has to make sense. And also you try to find that elusive audience, which is, it's a male audience between like, 27 and 45, something like where they don't watch anything. They just watch football only or whatever. You have to try to find that audience. And I think part of doing that is creating a show that everyone can watch together. So that's the goal. That's what you try to do. But if there was a magic secret sauce, that's just what everyone would do. I think it's just a really well-written, hopefully well-performed, beautiful-looking show that is kind of a throwback to an older style of show that we don't really have anymore. And I think there's an appetite for more of those. These shows that come on that are episodic with a serialized element to them, where the character evolves slowly over time. So you get benefits from watching it in one after the other, but there's also a really cool idea where you can watch episode 7 of season 4 and kind of get it, that's awesome as well. Mm-hmm. But I think there's an appetite for more of these shows, which are like throwback shows to these characters that we used to see that we don't really see anymore.
And it gives you hope. I mean, every episode you watch it and you feel like by the end of it, and maybe everyone in season 2 won't end this way, but you walk away feeling like, man, they did it. And the good guys won. It was earned.
Yeah.
And the whole family or friends or lovers are all happy. And I feel like in this day and age, we need more of that.
Yeah.
So
thank you. I agree with you. Thanks.
Well, thank you for the work you put out into the world.
Thank you. And thank you for coming.
Tracker returns on October 13th on CBS and Paramount Plus. Let's give it up for Justin one more time.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Thank you, man.